So in this video, I'm going to be working on this Funai VHS DVD recorder. Now, I know these get a bad rep because a lot of people say they're pure junk, this and them, stuff like that. But this one has what others typically don't have. It has an HDMI output, but also has an S video input on the front and on the rear for the DVD recorder and stuff like that. And that's the reason why I'm going to be trying to fix one of these now. I actually brought a couple of them, so this isn't the only one I got. I also got a Magnavox version of this coming just in case I couldn't get this one going. Now, typically they have mode gear issues, which is pretty much the timing gear that tells what position the VCR mechanism's in. And over time, those oxidate and that causes problems and stuff like that. Now, I'm not sure what the particular problem is with this one yet, because I just got it in the mail. It could have a host of problems, and I suspect it does, because you can see right there, got the crack right there. This is it could happen in post or something, but who knows. Let's go and power on and see what it does. And right off the bat, I already see one problem. You saw what this is doing right here, so yeah, I have to look at that. Now, it could be various problems with that, but that's the first thing that's broken, and I was hoping that was the part that actually worked. But we'll go ahead and tear into this thing, so I'm gonna go get the cover off and we'll see what's going on, see if the VCR side works and what it does, and see overall the condition of this thing and what's going on with it pretty much. So I went ahead and removed the top cover, and it's just 2 screws on each side and 3 screws in the rear that you have to remove, then you can slide the cover off. Here's the DVD side of it, that's the DVD recorder. And it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Usually these are really made cheap. And I mean, it is. You can see, obviously, the cost-cutting measures right there. Instead of putting connectors, they soldered all the connections on it. So when you do have to work on it, you got to desolder stuff, you know. But it is what it is. And I doubt a single tape spin through this thing, if any at all. Probably like maybe 1 or 2 tapes at max, but I doubt even that. That pin throw looks brand new. And I mean, there's no tape oxide or anything like that, or signs that this thing's actually been used. And that's common with these because a lot of people buy these and they use DVD recorder of it. I'm gonna go and take a broken tape or a tape that's actually been chewed up before, because I don't want to put a good tape in just to see what this thing does. Let's see if it loads. Oh no, comes right back out. Let's try that again. That's indicative of timing gear issues. Oh wait, now it doesn't even want to take it at all. Let's go ahead and power it off and on. No point. That's another thing too, is I do want to check the ESR cap, but it's not even turning on now, so there you go, that's the other problem too. Besides the fact that the DVD side of it, let's see, can we get it turned back on? And yeah, it's back on. You know, I don't want to force it because I don't want to break it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's timing gear. Okay, so it almost loaded the tape. But yeah, that's kind of to be expected. It does definitely does seem like it's a timing gear issue. That's common on these. I work on a lot of them, and typically what it does is, you know, when you got a timing gear issue, is it won't detect what mode the transport is in, so it'll do crazy stuff like unload the tape, or it won't load the tape, or load the tape and then turn off or something like that. So that's probably the first thing we're going to take a look at. Actually, you know something, I'm going to take a look at the DVD side to see what's going on with that first. So I went ahead and removed the DVD recorder / HDMI board completely out of this machine. In order to do that, you do have to remove the front panel. But before you go and just unclip it and just kind of take it completely off, just be careful with this cable right here. Disconnect that and then you can go and completely remove it. There's also a front brace too that you do have to remove after you move the front panel, and there's 3 screws holding it. You got 2 coarse thread screws that go into here, and then you got 1 fine thread screws that go into there, and that holds that front brace out. Then you can disconnect the 2 cables on the side right here, just pull them straight out. Be careful though, don't go ahead and unplug the laser assembly cable unless you do the solder block pretty much to short out the laser assembly, because if you don't, you can actually send a static charge to and damage the whole entire laser assembly. So just make sure you keep it plugged in, which I did right there. It's still plugged in. I just got it standing off a DVD case right now. Now, the reason why this DVD recorder assembly does not work is because of that motor, and because pretty much what happened was the brush oxidized over time from sitting in the same spot for so long, because this thing has not been used at all whatsoever. I mean, there's not a speck of dust, and you can see the original factory grease hasn't even had a chance to move around and stuff like that. This thing has not been used at all, so this is gonna be a good one. So hopefully it will work and the laser still works and everything, which it should, because it doesn't have no hours on it. But you can see that fan assembly there, which kind of confirms my suspicion that this thing has not been used, because there's not a speck of dust. And no, I did not clean it. There's the power supply. One thing you do want to go and do is go and test the ESR on those capacitors. Make sure they don't test high ESR and replace as necessary. But for now, you know, I'm more concentrating on just getting this thing working. So I went ahead and sprayed some deoxit and I let it sit. And then I also went ahead and moved it around a little too, so it can rotate it. And you can go ahead and do that just by simply opening and closing the door once you get this pushed up out of the way where it's not engaged with that gear. And then that way it rotates the motor because it's gear driven, and hopefully you'll clean the brushes enough to where that motor starts working again. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that together and assemble it. One thing to note though, if you do want to get access to that, is this cover will be on it. This is what goes on the bottom of it. And there is two clips that's holding it, one right there, and there's another one right there that you gotta push out of the way to go and slide it off. And then you can access the bottom of it. So I went ahead and, like I said, sprayed just some deoxit in there. Did it a couple times, you know, moved it back and forth. Hopefully that will go ahead and get some of that oxidation off, and we can get the DVD drive working again. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it into the machine again, and we're going to see if we got any success. So went ahead and temporarily mounted the DVD recorder back into the machine. Now I am gonna take it back apart because I still gotta work on the VHS side of things, which does require having to remove the whole main board and everything. But let's go and see if our deoxit fixed that motor and now it loads and unloads. Now I did go ahead and put it into the loaded position, so it's already closed. Now let's go and see what happens pretty much. Okay, and right now I was trying to see if there's a disc, which there is none. Hey, it works. Like I said, this is brand new, so I was expecting it to work. See if it loads. Come on, load in. Yep, it loaded the disc. Let's hear if we hear those two sounds I like to hear. There you go. That was the two sounds pretty much. You hear that? Yeah, it's definitely a good drive. There you go, it's loaded and it's playing something right now. Now I'll go and put it on the monitor after I'm done fixing the VHS, so I'll show you that both actually work, but I'm 90% sure that does work, so. And you can see it, there you go. Thought it was wrong, now let's go ahead and see if it stops first, and it should eject. There you go, motor brakes. And there you go. And let's just make sure it says open right there, which it did. Just put it away, and let's just go ahead and close it. And that fixed it pretty much. So now we're on to the VHS side of things, which is I'm 90% sure it's gonna be that timing gear. So now you don't have to desolder all this. I'll actually show you a way to do about desoldering. All you gotta do is unfold the cable going to the capstan motor, and that will give you enough access to pop off that top contact brushes and stuff like that off the timing gear, which is the white gear with the brushes on it. Then you'll be able to go and clean, and I'll show you how to do that just in a minute. So went ahead and took the whole VHS unit with the main board assembly out together, and you have to take it out together, otherwise you can crack the main board and then you're done pretty much. There is two screws, there's one right there, and there's one under this ribbon cable that goes to the capstan motor, which you got it right there, it's hidden in there, and you can kind of see it right there. So that's how you would get it out. You would just take this out here, then you don't have to desolder, just be very careful. And then you'll be able to bend this here too a little bit and get enough access to get that mold gear out and clean it. So let's go and take a look at the main board while we're at it, so you can see some of the components and stuff on this board here. And I kind of like that they actually put the voltages and everything on the silk screen, which is actually pretty nice. So they do actually put what everything does, so that's actually good. See if we can actually see. Well, I can see the number at the can because there's a glossy vintage over them. But shockingly enough, I'm actually seeing a lot of Panasonic parts on this. Kind of strange. And then there you go, that's the back end of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this out and get to that mold gear, and I'll be right back. So once you get done, finish removing those 2 screws from underneath the main board that holds this whole transport to the main board, you can bend the cable slightly enough so you can get some slack, and then turn the board over and you can gently lift this whole transport up enough to get to that mold / timing gear that we need to get access to. And then we're going to clean the contacts. And I'm going to do that off camera just because I don't want to snap it as I try to go ahead and pop it off, because you got to pop it off. There's clips holding it in place. And then we'll be able to get access to it, and I'll be right back once I'm done. So off camera, I went ahead and popped the contacts off. And you can see there it's a little bit oxidized right there. And also we got to go ahead and remove that dielectric grease and clean that. It's not as bad as in there. I've seen them a lot worse, but we're going to clean that up. You can use 99% alcohol, or you can use, of course, deoxid and stuff like that, and just go in there and clean it up with a Q-tip. And then same thing with these little brushes right here. Just be careful when you clean the brushes that you swipe towards the brush back and forth. Don't go side to side, otherwise you'll end up bending those brushes and you'll ruin it. So we're going to clean that oxidation off, and I'll show you once I'm done doing that. So went ahead and removed the tarnish off the contacts, and as you can see, it looks like new now, and that's how you want yours to look like. And same thing with those contacts down there. And I went and removed all the old dielectric grease too while I was at it. So you want to go and put a dab of new dielectric grease, enough so it goes ahead and coats the surface there. And then you can go ahead and pop that in, spin it around a few times to spread the grease, and you're good to go. So I'm going to go and do that, reassemble it, and hope the VHS unit works. And make sure once you get done reassembling the mold / timing gear that you actually have it lined up to the timing mark on the board there, which I do right now. And that when you go and put the transport up, it lines up with the hole on the bottom gear right there. There's actually a little hole, you can't see it right now, but it slots in there and stuff like that. And then you can go and reassemble this. So do have the unit mostly back together. You do have to install the DVD recorder to test the VHS side, otherwise it won't power on. So I went ahead and reassembled everything. Just make sure you got the deck nice and seated and that everything's timed correctly and so forth, and then put all the screws in the correct spot. I went ahead and lined up all the screws so I know exactly where they go. But on the motherboard, there is some long machine ones, short machine ones, and ones that go into plastic. So just make sure you put them all in the correct spot. But let's go ahead and power it on and test to see if it works. Okay, so that's good. It would always powered on, but let's see if it actually accepts the tape now and tries to thread it. It didn't thread before, so there you go. And it is playing the tape. As you can see there, it's fully working. Okay, let me go ahead and stop it. Okay, we'll go fast forward and let's go and see some forward action. See how fast this one forwards. Well, I already know I worked on a few of these. Yeah. Okay, this is the stop. And yeah, these decks are literally that loud. Really not much to them. And yeah, that's one negative thing about these machines. It doesn't have optical sensors like on the JVCs where it detects the position of the tape. So when it does its rewind and forward, it doesn't do it as fast as the JVCs, but it also doesn't slow down at the end of rewind and forward because it's missing those optical sensors that detect the tape position, unfortunately. But that's just how these are built, so there you go. Let's go ahead and eject it. Let's see which one's the eject. It's that one. And let's just try it again for one more good time for good measure. There you go. So it is fully working now. That's all needed. This is probably the first time a tape's ever been loaded into this thing too. So I'm gonna go and clean up the front panel, get the rest of this unit back together, and then I'm gonna go ahead and show you that it does play a picture. Well, I hope at least it'll play a picture, but I don't see no reason why it should. So went ahead and put back the front panel and cleaned it up. So now I'm gonna go and test to see if I got any video and audio out of this thing. The only thing I haven't tested yet, really. And hopefully all goes good. And if it does, then it's gonna go on my editing rack. Now, I really don't care about the VCR part. I more was interested in the DVD recorder because it got the next video input on it and also on the rear too. And sometimes I get customers that want transfers, but they don't want it as a file on flash drive. They rather have it on DVD, so having these are actually very handy. Well, let's go ahead and put a DVD in and see if it works. Let's go ahead and open it. It's turning on right now, so. Okay, there you go. Spinning up. Yep, there we go. Load the contents. And as you can see, DVD is working, so that's a good thing. I do have to test record and stuff later on, but that's once I get it set up. Okay. And let me go ahead and see if I get any audio. I turned it down because I don't want any copyright matches or anything like that. Yep, we get audio, so we know. Like I said, this thing's brand new, so I didn't expect it to do it. Let's switch over to the VCR side. So I'm gonna go ahead and load in a tape. Hold on, why is it? Oh yeah, these you kind of gotta get it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and that track's pretty good too. And there you go. Well, it's definitely good. Let's go ahead and fast forward it. Oh, that's probably because it's a damaged tape because it has been eaten by other VCRs. So, okay, let's go ahead and play it. See if we get any audio. We should. Okay. Now let's go ahead and go forward scan. Let's see that works. Let's go reverse scan. Okay, play. And that's the tape. This tape's damaged. But it is working, so that's a good thing. So you do got usage, you can see there, counter is working. Let's go right there and let's just see if you can fast forward. And this is about as fast as it goes because, like I said, it doesn't got the position sensor, so it doesn't do the rapid forward or rewind like the JVCs or Panasonics do. And yeah, these transports are pretty loud. Let's go to rewind it all the way to the beginning. Okay. It does have the leader sensor. There's some clean. Let's just see it unload. You can see how it goes into the tape, and then there you go. So this machine is fully functional. It went from having both a bad DVD recorder to VHS to both working now. And like I said, I suspect this was brand new. So if you think you could buy one of these in the box and it's gonna work, guess again. 9 times out of 10 they're not, because it oxidizes and gonna need to be serviced either way. Now once they're serviced, they're actually pretty good. This is not as bad built as some of the Funai machines I have seen, because I've seen some really cheap Funai machines where this is all plastic and everything else. This one's actually pretty decent. This one has Panasonic DVD recorder, and I mean VHS part is typical of what you expect from VHS machines now today, but you know, they're built to a cause pretty much, and that's what you kind of expect, but it works. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it on my editing rack and see if it actually records. So this concludes the video. Here it is, all cleaned up and in its final resting place, and did do a couple recordings on it, and it did great. What I like about this one too is in the menu it actually allows you to turn off the composite input and just use this video input and so forth. So pretty nifty. It allows you to select which input and so forth rather than just the basic, you know, up and down on the usually channel select. So it's pretty good, and it did really good, so can't complain. So it's gonna stay there for now. For those that want to know, the HDMI port's not just for the DVD side, but it also works for the VHS as well too. So went ahead and fixed the tape loading part, because before the tape sometimes would stick when you would actually push it in. Well, one finger now. What it was the metal where the sit tape's on was a little bit bent upwards. I'm not sure if that was from factory or from when shipping maybe. But either way it goes, I went ahead and fixed it, and now it loads smoothly.